Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our newest edition of Shots of Legends. We hope you're having a good day today. Today we bring you this very special guest, Marcus. Marcus is a music producer and is going to talk a little bit more about the process of producing the music, the jobs he has done, and he will talk a little bit about sound engineering and what he's willing to achieve in the next couple of years.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How about you? Welcome to Shots of Legends. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. It's an honor. Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
So, how's your day going today? And how is
Uh,
Virginia?
Not too bad. Got some family visiting, and then I have a wife and kids, so just been enjoying the weekend with them. But yeah, definitely enjoy. My birthday was a couple of days ago, so I've been enjoying the last couple of days just celebrating.
Yeah, happy late birthday.
Thank you.
Which
Thank
I
you.
hope you had a great day.
Yep. I definitely did enjoy some time with family and everything.
Yeah, yeah. I was when I saw your profile, I was very I was wondering about the whole process of this area because being a producer might be something challenging, and maybe you need to be attentive in a way to the environment, to the business, to understand what to do next. So I was um, I was here thinking, what does it mean to be a producer?
For me, it's being able to take a concept for an artist or a project on the composer side for a movie to take a concept and be able to supply the music for that. And that could be whether it's bringing in musicians to play music or creating the music myself using the gear that I have.
Yeah.
But to be able to take something almost like out of thin air and have a finished product at the end from start to finish, a full song or
Mm.
a piece of music that you see all the way through. That's what a true sort of like producer. They
Yeah.
produce the music.
Yeah. Can you talk about the creative process? I think it's interesting the fact that you need to maybe find yourself in some kind uh, uh, how can I say this? Maybe you see those kind of environment where you feel that your mind is in peace and it's easy to produce or to create something new. Can you talk a little bit about the process of creating something new?
Yeah, so usually I have a concept. So if it's for a specific project, usually there's if it's like for a TV show or something, they usually have guidelines of what kind of music they need. If it's
Yeah.
something that I just want to make for myself, I might create my own guidelines. Like let's say I might sit down one day and say I want to make a hip hop album of instrumentals or a pop album of like 5 or 6 tracks of instrumentals or a orchestral album or a movie trailer album. So
Mm.
I might just sit down one day or a couple days or even a week and say this week I want to do this project uh, in between like some of the projects that I have that are set. And then I might get emails in to work on something. Sometimes with trailers, the briefs, the deadlines are pretty much, um, get it as soon as possible. Sometimes I've had as little as a couple of hours all the way up to I've had a couple of days, maybe like 4 or 5 days most. But usually it's about one day, 2 days to get us something by the end of the day. So it varies depending on the project. So I might be working on a personal project and I might get an email from an artist or producer or collaborator or a brief for a TV show or movie where they need that a little bit sooner. So I stop the project I'm working on, jump over to the other project, work on that, and if I get something done, send it in, and then go back to what I was working on. So I usually have 2 or 3 things going on at once, so I can always jump around. If I get stuck on one, jump to another thing, and then come back to the other thing. So yeah, always a couple of projects going on musically.
Yeah. Can you talk about your biggest inspirations and what do you do to keep your mind clean? Like ready to do something new, to produce or to build something different.
Yeah, I have a wife and kids, and the goal is to get to full time music. I'm not full time yet with music, so the goal is to get there. And the inspiration is really to make sure that I can use music, which is my like passion, to
Mm.
support family and life and everything. And I have a lot of great friends that are doing that, and just learning from them about how they're using things like sync and trailer music to um, take that and build the life they want from just making music. So I'm working towards that point. So if I'm up all night, I might not get 3-4 hours of sleep because I'm up all night making music, or sending out emails to the companies to say, hey, do you need music, or pitching to sync libraries or trailer music companies. So yeah, it's I'm doing all of that because I want to get to that end goal where I can be able to do music full time and take care of family.
Yeah, yeah. Do you recall that time you tried to give up? That time you said like, oh, the path, this running is hard, and when you felt that you were punching a lot and nothing new was coming, you weren't reaching the that goal, that that plan you have designed. Can you talk a little bit about that time, the time you thought about giving up?
I don't think I've had the chance yet because this is the whole fully diving in on trying to become full time with music is
Mm,
sort of new for me since the pandemic. Before the pandemic, I was a musician in church, so I
yeah.
didn't have a lot of focus on doing my own music things. I would do every once in a while, maybe a couple days out the week, I would enter contest or send stuff to artists. But because I was so focused on um, working on other people's music, or working with the choir, or working with musicians, and then be gone all weekend with church services, I didn't really have as much time to focus on what would be better for me personally and my family, with the music goals that I have personally. So when the pandemic hit, and we started realizing that this isn't going to be like just a 1 week, 1 month pandemic, it's
Mm,
like it's going to be extended. I
yeah.
started looking at those other opportunities, and really last year started diving more into sync and trailer music. And trailer music is actually fairly new. I've really dived into that this year. Uh, so I don't know if I've been doing it long enough to feel like I want to give up, or maybe I'll never feel like that. But being fairly new to it, I'm still not at the it's never going to happen stage, because there are little things that are happening, working with companies or working with brands and writing songs for different things and projects, where I see little things happening, and not knowing where one project might come from, but knowing that things can come from anywhere, from a relationship, from a person, from another project I put out, and start seeing those little things, little by little, and just seeing where it
Yeah.
will all end up. Looking forward to that, but I'm not there yet, so I haven't felt the need to like, let me just throw in the towel, let me give up. And it also helps that I do work full time, so it does help to have that sort of uh, buffer, to be able to take care of family, pay bills and things.
Yeah.
I would say for me, giving up is not an option because it's something that I really want to do, and maybe I'm not at the place yet where I feel like I've been doing it for a million years, and I'm ready to give up, throwing the towel. But because I was playing in church for over 25 years before the pandemic,
Mm,
and I was focusing so much on playing. I play piano and organ, so I was focusing so much on learning other people's music and practicing with the choir, practicing with the musicians, focusing on the services. Sometimes 2 or 3 services on a Sunday. Spending a lot of time away from family, missing a lot of events and missing a lot of family time because I had to work on a song for church, or go to a rehearsal, or go to practice, and so I didn't have as much time to focus on this other avenue that I'm pursuing now, which is sync licensing, which is placing music in television and movies, movie trailers, and working with artists, things like that. I was doing it a little bit on the side, but I was so much focused on the church that I can now shift that focus to work on the projects that are more meaningful for me, that will give me more time with family. So for me, giving up is not an option because I know that the end goal is to get to that point. I would love in a couple of years, even maybe by this time next year, to be able to be working on music full time. Right now, I do work a full time job, so I have that, which is good to have that cushion to pay bills and take care of family. The
yeah.
end goal is to eventually transition to making music full time. So that is sort of the inspiration, in addition to my wife and kids being the ultimate inspiration for everything.
Why is family so important for you in this process? Because you talk a lot about family. I would like to know what is the influence? What is it important to see or to feel their presence in your path in your career? Can you talk a little bit about
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
About
yeah.
this?
Family, for me is really important, and to have their support in this journey, um, is has been makes things a little or a lot easier. It would be
Yeah,
really hard to try to pursue that. I could very well just they could very well just say just work your full time job, and we'll just we'll work with that until you retire, and then that'll be that. But
mm,
they allow me to pursue these music dreams, and um, they're really diving in on learning about music. Like even when they're playing and listening to songs, um, they might ask me questions, or I might ask them questions, about like, hey, what's the sample used, or do they got to pay for using this line from another song, or using this sample from
mm.
another song, or how did they do this, or why did they do that? So just dissecting those songs with them, and just going deeper into just listening to it, and actually experiencing music with them as part of that journey, and then sharing the projects that I'm part of with them. If I, work on an independent film, or if I do a song with the artist, or lately I've been writing jingles for brands and writing songs for brands. So just sharing that with them, hey, I'm gonna write a song for this brand. Sharing that with them, and then of course, especially if it's a paid opportunity, using that to
Yeah,
be able to one, pay bills, but then if we need to take a vacation for a weekend, or do something, having that extra income. And our kids are getting older, so trying to get a college fund and everything together, even though, fingers crossed, they'll be getting full rides and full scholarships to their schools anyway. But
yeah.
family is very important. And for me growing up, I have both my parents and three sisters and a brother, right? Don't let me get it right. So um, just always had,
Yeah,
family, just be a sort of center of everything.
yeah. No, that's powerful. I know you make videos for TVs and trailers. How is it going? Are you getting the incomes from the job?
So that is actually an interesting journey, because I just started diving in specifically on trailers um, around last Thanksgiving. For those who are not in the US, that was around November of last year, towards the end of November. I started diving in on, I put out my first trailer music album. So before that, I was really studying the formulas and things, because trailer music is totally different from like pop, hip hop, R&B, even composing for a movie. Trailer music is really specific. Usually it's a shorter form, up to maybe 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, really high action, to get people to go, watch the movie, stream it, or go to the theater, or watch a TV show. So I started studying the formulas, put out my first album November of last year, put out a second trailer music album in December around Christmas. And that was to just get feedback of like, hey, I sent it to composers I knew, I sent it to trailer people that I knew, and just to get the feedback, to say, hey,
Yeah.
what should I be focusing on? And I would get some feedback like, hey, get some more strings, add some more layers, get some more impacts. And over the last, I would say since January this year, really been focusing on developing that sound and connected with some great libraries. So for those who don't know the trailer music space specifically,
Mm,
if a movie is coming out, they will have a marketing budget for the trailer, and they might hire two or three different trailer companies to create a trailer for this movie. And then the best winner wins the trailer, and then that'll be what airs in the theater and on TV. But a movie can also have multiple trailers. There could be a trailer for the theaters. There could be a trailer for TV. There could be a trailer for Europe, but there could be a trailer for Japan. There could be a movie can have six or seven different
mm,
trailers. So there's so much opportunity there, just
yes.
on the trailer side. Um, and then on the sync side, working with, for those who don't know, sync is when you place music into television and movies, but it's not a trailer. It is not the composer of the show or the movie. So it's not like Hans Zimmer, scoring with the strings and
Yeah.
stuff. Sync
Mm,
is like when they have like a pop song playing on the radio in the show or something. So I work with a couple companies in the sync side. I had a couple placements last year on 50 Cent show on Stars called BMF, where I got some instrumentals placed on that show. Had some placements this year. The most recent one was just having music placed in the Fox Business show. I forgot the name of the show. I should probably remember, but it was a Fox Business show. Just had music placed just in the background as they're talking about business stuff. So all that, like, it's little things that adds up in the sync space. And then the trailer stuff would be the big payouts. You land one of my big goals is to land a Disney trailer. So fingers crossed. I've been getting close and closer. So I'm
yeah.
really hoping to have music placed in a Disney trailer.
Can you
And of
can you
course, not just one trailer, but forever.
Yeah,
So we'll
yeah, yeah.
see.
Can you talk a little bit about the influence you might have had by listening to Hans Zimmer? Because we know that is one of the greatest legends out there. So do you listen more often to his jobs, and how is he impacting your career?
Yeah. So
I'm asking this
I'm
because you mentioned
yeah.
Hans Zimmer during the during your speech.
Yeah, yeah. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of composers that I follow, composers for film and TV shows that I follow. Hans Zimmer, of course, is one. Ludwig Göransson, who's a newer composer,
Mm.
is another one. John Williams, of course, the greats. James Newton Howard.
Yeah.
Then there's newer ones like P&R Toprak. She's awesome. She's done music for Fortnite. She's done, I believe, Captain Marvel. She did, and of
Mm.
course, a bunch of other projects. But also being a Black African American,
Mm.
I like following a lot of those composers, such as Michael Abels, who does a lot of Jordan Peele's projects, or Chris Bowers, who just did Bridgerton. So I follow a lot of these composers and study their music and their pathways to success, and hopefully, to gain a little bit of knowledge. And then every once in a while there are contests. Like there was a recent opportunity to score a scene from Bridgerton, which of course I had to take part of because Chris Bowers being a Black composer, the show
Mm.
is executive produced by a Black showrunner. Um, so I definitely wanted to take part of that opportunity and eventually being able to connect to these composers that I follow and that I've been learning from and listening to their soundtracks. So I might sit down one day and listen to a movie soundtrack. I might not even watch the movie. Like I haven't seen Dune yet, which is a movie that Hans Zimmer scored, but I've listened to the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Or so I might listen to soundtracks just to get inspiration,
Mm.
and might not watch the movie, but I just like listening to that music, and even before diving in on making music for movies, I was always interested in learning that side of things, and even bringing the orchestral stuff over to when I do hip hop and pop and R&B tracks.
Yeah, I would like to know a little bit more about that chapter, the trilogy you've worked on, etc. But for now, I would like to know a little bit more because I was listening to one of your EPs on Tidal. There is a EP there for horror movies, horror
Yeah,
films, and I was listening to Hidden in the Darkness, maybe,
yeah,
and
mhm,
Terrifying. Those are the two pieces of jobs that I was listening to. Can you talk a little bit about that AP? What are you willing to
yeah.
achieve with that AP? And are you getting a good feedbacks?
Yeah, so with those projects, that's one of those where I sit down, like I said, either anywhere from a day to a week, and I say, this week I want to put out this project. The horror project in particular, I put out because when I put it out, it was Friday the 13th.
Mm.
So it was the only Friday the
Ah, okay.
13th that
Mm.
occurred this year. And for those who don't know, Friday the 13th, is
Yeah.
a scary movie
Still,
franchise,
yes.
horror franchise. So I was like, okay, Friday the 13th. It was back in the summer sometime, and I was like, okay, this will be a horror project I'm going to put out, and then in a few months it'll be October, which is the big horror Halloween month. I can really push it in October, but basically I do those as concept albums, so I can either it works great because they can be streaming for people that want to just stream it, but I can send the links to trailer music companies or sync companies and say, hey, here's some projects I have. I have a horror album. I have different trailer music albums. I have the pop albums, the hip hop albums, R&B albums. So I have these different projects that I can send to different companies. And in some instances, not with the horror album, but with a neoclassical album that I did. It's a neoclassical trailer.
Yeah.
I sent it to one company, and they said, we really like this. Can you make us a album like this just for us that we can have? So a lot of times it's like my resume that I can send to companies. Instead of sending a paper and say, hey, did all this, I can just send links to music that they can stream on streaming platforms, Tidal, Apple Music, Spotify. I can send them, YouTube playlists that I have of music I created. I can send them Instagram links. So whatever they want, it's like, hey, I can send you a link if you want to hear it. What platform do you prefer? Or I can send it directly, email it, MP3 or whatever. So just being out everywhere. It's a little it's a lot of work to sort of keep up with, putting stuff everywhere, like on all the platforms. But like you said, there's people that only have Tidal.
Yeah.
So they won't hear my music if it's not on Tidal. They won't go to Apple Music or Spotify. And there's people that are only on Spotify.
Yeah.
There's people that will only go to TikTok. So
Yeah.
there's all these platforms that I've gotten opportunities from just by being on certain platforms.
Is there that job, that work, that masterpiece that you produce and actually makes you proud? Can you mention that job that when you listen to it and you say like, well, this is one of my best jobs? Do you have
Um,
something like that?
I think right now, my daughter has started songwriting. So when I send her stuff and she like, I bring her to our studio here, and record like the stuff she's written, or she sends it to me on the phone. I think that is like one of those, proud dad moments where it's like,
Yeah.
daughter's writing songs.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that would definitely be one. And I think hearing my music in on TV is great. I think the big thing for me will be when I hear it in a trailer. That would be the next thing, especially a Disney trailer, because that would be my like the goal. Like once I hear like in a Disney trailer, it would just be one, check mark off the
Yeah.
dream list, and hopefully leading to more things. And I've talked to some great people that are in the trailer space. There's some great communities out online in the trailer music space. So I think that's sort of the next frontier. But I've worked on projects, worked on independent films and things where you're watching it and you're like, wow, this is my music behind
Yeah.
this. And
Yes.
and then when they get submitted to for like awards and things like that, just an honor to be um, in those arenas. So eventually, would love to get to some of the bigger, accolades, the Grammys and things like that, and that would be just more affirmation. But even when I send music out and I get
Mm.
responses from um, libraries or agencies or producers or directors, uh, like, hey, you're on the right track. Just getting that nudge has been very helpful. And when I sit down, let's say I get a brief or an opportunity, and I sit down and I have like a blank screen in front of me, and I'm like, okay, how am I gonna, you know, approach this musical idea and have something for them in 2 hours or 3 hours or however long it is. And sometimes you just got to sit down and do it. And then when I sit back and like replay it, I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty good, or
Yeah.
it's me,
Yeah.
so I'm biased, of course, but it's like hopefully they like it, and in some
Yeah.
cases they do, and in some cases they might have feedback, and in some cases they might go another direction. But
Mm.
um, in any case, I always have something more that I can add to my catalog, and then I can start sending out to other opportunities. So um, yeah, I think
Yeah.
just that moment of having nothing in front of you, and then in a couple hours have like a
Yeah.
masterpiece or a
Yeah.
trailer or a
Yeah.
song or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be praying for you to reach that goal, to maybe see one of your jobs at Disney's on Disney movies, etc. We would like to know a little bit more about the trailers and the TV
Yeah.
shows. Maybe if you can mention some. Can you talk about the TV shows or the programs, the trailers that you have your jobs on?
Yeah, so I pitched to probably at this point over 100 trailers this year, and it's really hard to. Sometimes it's what happens in the trailer process is you will get what's called a brief from a company working on a trailer for a film. It could be anywhere as detailed or as little detail as possible. So it can be, hey, we're working on the next Marvel film and we need a superhero trailer, and they
Mhm.
want it to be a hip hop song that has been trailerized, and they want to use these artists or they don't want to use these artists. It could be very detailed with that, or it can be as little as, hey, we're working on a superhero film and we need superhero music. You can use any type of artist you want, or we can't use. We don't have a budget for an artist, so you can't have like Beyonce, you know.
Yeah.
So anywhere from make it completely original to we want Beyonce on this trailer, so find a song and trailerize it. So uh, that is definitely interesting, and it's a challenge that I actually like, trying to figure out how to trailerize
Mm.
hip hop or R&B or pop songs. And sometimes they give you the song, they say, hey, we're working on um, this show, we have this song by this artist that we can use, and you have to trailerize that.
Yeah. Mm.
And it's not always. There are some companies that I know that if they send it to me, I'm the only person they're sending it to. So it's like either you get it or you don't. And then there's other companies where they'll send the same thing to like 30 composers, and it's like whoever goes after it. Of course, it's like, yeah, I do as much as I can with the time that I have. Um, and now that I have a catalog of a lot of stuff, I can go through the catalog, and if there's something like, if it's a quick deadline, like, hey, we want any ideas you have, in the next hour, that's not necessarily enough time to create a new track. So I might just go through my catalog, see what I have, and then send some ideas from that. But it all stems from the brief that comes through, what the requirements are in that brief, and of course the deadline, and whether or not I can do it. There's some that I might be out with the family. It's like, hey, I won't have time to do this, in 2 hours. So there's some that I definitely miss out on. But the ones that I can do, I do as many as I can, and working with as many, not as many companies. I work with a handful of companies in the trailer space and also in the sync space.
Mm,
And those are, like I said, those are two totally different arenas. Um, but it helps to have the different aspects because trailers are much more difficult to land than the sync stuff, which is just putting the music into like background scene of like a TV in a movie.
yeah. But how can people reach you? Where to find your jobs? If someone
Yeah,
is
if you go
looking
to
for produce, etc., how can we find you? How can someone find you?
yeah, I have a link that's basically almost like it links to everything else. If you go to koji.to/defingers, so that is koji dot
Mm,
to
mm,
slash defingers DAFINGAZ. That is my producer like artist name is defingers because play piano and organ and stuff. But
yeah.
koji.to/DAFINGAZ, and you'll see links there for social media, links for services. You can see links to some of my music and stuff there.
Yeah, yeah. I know you're present. You're president and the founder at Top Notch Productions. Maybe I think this is the name. Can you talk about the jobs, the projects you have there, and what are you willing to achieve in the next 5 years?
Yeah, so everything musically is through the business company Top Notch Productions,
Yeah,
and the ultimate goal, which is to make music full time. I'm working on that little by little, so it takes from the people I talk to several years to build up to that. Um, in the especially specifically in the sync space, I believe the best option for me will be in the sync space because that is where I can just come down. I look at whatever projects for the day for the film or TV, and then start working on them. There are other avenues such as trying to get music onto like big artist albums, which is like another goal. But that's a harder thing to achieve. Trying to get on to Beyonce or Drake or
yeah,
really been connecting a lot with like Usher's team, but it's a lot harder because they have their people that they've been working with for 2 3 decades already,
yeah,
um, or even new artists. I send stuff. I do send stuff out like almost every, pretty much every week to different artists. But it's a lot easier to get on music to TV and film and things than it is to get it on a album with the artist. So, um, but I'm doing a little bit of that. But the ultimate goal is to be able to make music, to make a full time income from music, take care of family, pay bills.
mm,
If needed, if my wife wants to, get up and travel somewhere, we can go travel, and I can still, take my laptop and work wherever we are in the world. So to be able to do that and just make music and edit and mix and create um, using these different avenues and my knowledge of music creation process and putting that all to use.
I know you work for NatGeo, National Geographic. Can you, because I think you're still working in this area, out the visuals. Can you talk about the I'm asking this question because working for NatGeo, somehow you have this contact with the nature. So do you feel do you think that this working for NatGeo and working with nature, do you have some kind of advantage there to feel inspired or to find some kind of different scenarios or inspiration to produce something new? Because when you get into the wild, I don't know if you do that kind of job, but if you go into the wild, you find that kind of natural sounds. Can you make a relation between your job at NetGeo and what you're willing to achieve in the next years?
Yeah, so working there, I've been there for it'll be 15 years in at the end of this year. So
Yeah.
I've been there for a while, and when I started working there, we actually had a lot of music programming. We had a record label. We had a program called it was called Geo Sessions, which was almost the parallel. It was a little bit before NPR Tiny Desk, but it would rival that, where we would bring in artists, from around the world, and they would perform music at the headquarters, and then they would also do like an interview, like podcast type thing. That was called Geo Sessions. We had deals with music companies around the world, and would do like all types of different music things. When I started, my role has since shifted over the last 7 or 8 years to more just heavily focused on AV IT. But working there, I always tell people I make music, I work on music, and working and creating music was never part of my official job. But I've been able to freelance as a musician on some projects. So leading up to the pandemic, for about 7 or 8 years, I had music in pretty much every National Geographic museum exhibit that they created. I had music for that. I created music for those museum exhibits. That also led to other opportunities creating music for other museums. And so a museum exhibit might be touring the world, and my music would be part of that experience. So those are avenues that I never thought of before working at National Geographic,
Mm.
and started thinking of different ways. Even within my first, I think, year or two there, uh, the channel, like I said, I always tell people I make music. The channel was working on a show, and they had a composer for the show. The show was pretty much done. They just needed one little piece of music added, and they came to me, and I was able to work on it was like a 10-second little music idea that they needed for the show, and was able to get that in there. So it opened doors to me where I was like, okay, I don't have to focus on trying to get music to Jay-Z or whoever. I can do these projects for museums and TV shows that most musicians aren't thinking of. Most producers, at least in the areas that I was connected with, they were just trying to get those placements, those dream placements on albums. That's hard to get on. And it's like, well, no, there's a whole other world out there where you can be making music for sync, for TV, for movies, for museum exhibits, for social media. There's a whole other world out there of music where you can still make music, and you can still make decent income, and nobody has to know your name, so you can even be anonymous and make a career out of it.
I know you're behind some artists. Is there any name you want to mention during this process of being a music producer? Do you have some names you can mention? You can mention here.
Yeah, I'll mention two. There's one rapper who I've been working with a lot over the years. His name is Just Mula, JUSMULA, and he's from Connecticut, a rapper. What's crazy is I've never met him in person. We've talked online, and had chats and things, and I produced about 3 or 4 full projects, I believe, with my music, and then I've had music on some of his other projects. And just working with him on music over the years has been great. There's another artist who I recently worked with. He's a Vegas R&B artist named On My Wave, ONMYWAYVE. I hope I spelled it right. Incredible singer and songwriter and artist from Las Vegas. Whenever we go out there, I definitely make it a point to link up with him. At another friend of our studio, the guy who owns the studio, his name is Pat. Has a studio out there called Mix Las Vegas. So shameless plug, anyone out in Vegas, hit up Mix Las Vegas if you need mixing. But On My Wave and Just Mula are, I would say, two incredible artists that I've had the pleasure of working with over the years, and looking forward to working with them more on some projects.
No, Marcus, it was a real pleasure to have you on Chats with Legends, and we wish you all the best, and we'll be praying, hoping to see your job on mega big productions in the industry. But before we close the our chat today, is there any message you want to leave for the newcomers, for young dreamers all over the world?
Um, yeah, let me say this. I think that whatever you feel like you want to do in life, no matter how old you are. I just turned 38 a couple days Friday, so
Yeah.
at the time of this recording, and I just started getting into a little bit, getting back into like rapping and writing, songs. And some people might think, you're 38, why you want to dive into. And I started to realize, like, I'm not trying to be, like Jay-Z or the big rappers out there, or even the new rappers out there. But I found it to be a good way to um, heighten or to exercise my songwriting skills, doing like open verse challenges on social media, and it's in turn that's helped me to create songs for brands, so that now I have that muscle worked up where it's like a brand might want me to write a song for them or for a product, and I can do the research I need to do and come up with. I can make the music for it, and then I can also record it, like write it and record it, so I can do all that, like all like one man band. But then I also have artists if I need to reach out, part of different communities. So I would say definitely, no matter how old you are, how long you've been doing something else, if you feel like you have a passion for jumping into another lane, you can do it. And also, the biggest thing is to make sure that you have your network is aware of what you can do. Building a network has been key for me, because there have been opportunities that have come for me from people who know me, as opposed to people who know what I can do, or know like have seen like a resume, because there's some opportunities that won't be posted online or on a job board. There's some that like someone will tell their friend, and their friend will know their friend, and their friend knows you. So it's like there's a lot of word of mouth, especially in the entertainment industry. So being part of some great communities, for example, there's one community called Hard Drive, HRDRV, really, really great. It's just like a record label with like thousands of members. You get artwork, you get all kinds of beats. They have sync opportunities there. I landed some incredible sync through that. There's another community that I'm part of, called Full Sail, the Alumni Network. I went to Full Sail University, which is a entertainment school in Florida, here in the States. So being part of that community, because they have almost every major company has an alumni from Full Sail University. So their network is insane. So a lot of times you can just make a call and say Full Sail, and you can find someone that works there and get some insight to something there. So a lot of times just having your network, know what you're doing, know what you're looking for, let them know what you're up to, and then that way you never know what opportunities will come from that way. But yeah, networking, I say, would be the most important aspect. And I'm actually currently working on a networking ebook. Of course, hopefully I have that out by the end of the year. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, we really love talking to you, Marcus. It was a really pleasure, and we thank you again for your abilities, for granting us this privilege, this opportunity to know a little bit more about your job, about your journey, about your path, what you're willing to achieve in the next couple of years, in the next few years. We hope to have you here on the next opportunity on Shouts of Legends.
Yeah, thank you. I look forward to coming back, and thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, wish you a great day.
Right, thanks.
Yeah, bye-bye. Yeah. Today we were challenged to keep patching, to keep dreaming. We got this advice from Marcus, and it was a great day to learn about this process of pursuing our dreams. So it was a pleasure to have you there. We hope to have you in the next episodes of Shots of Legends.